Raise your hand if you know at least one person who has autism. What do you think when you hear the word autism? Do you think of a person who's nonverbal and can't communicate with the outside world and feel badly for them? On the other hand, do you think of a person who's a talented prodigy but lacks the ability to engage with others? These are common stereotypes about autism, perpetuated by misconceptions from the media and indirect information. The harmful impact of these stereotypes is that people have a mostly inaccurate portrayal of what autism is, and they don't know how to interact with people who are autistic. Today, I want to talk about how these misconceptions are harmful to people who are autistic. On a global level, there are 6.8 million autistic people, so it's important we learn about how autism really works. One stereotype about autism is that it makes people unable to live normal lives, so we should try to learn how to cure or at least prevent it. This is one of the most common misconceptions, and as the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, or ASN, states, it's harmful because it's saying that autistic people are worth less than neurotypical people. While autism may make life harder, all people deserve the same basic respect and rights. Autism is something that affects people their whole lives, and as the ASN states, it's a natural part of human diversity. Unfortunately, as the ASN notes, a good amount of money goes towards research preventing autism instead of funding for resources that actually provide autistic people with the services they need. This research does not actually provide autistic people any help, and it does not help us navigate the world. Another stereotype about autism is that all autistic people are savants, meaning that they can be exceptionally talented in things like art or math. This trope is relatively common in the media. An example of the savant stereotype in the media would be the main character from the movie Rain Man, who is portrayed as incredibly good with numbers but has difficulty with interacting with others and has very rigid thinking patterns. While the savant stereotype may come from a good place, trying to tell us that autism is a great superpower, it's still just as harmful because it encourages us to put autistic people on a pedestal and have us think of them less as real people and more like trophies we should be adored. It also implies that all autistic people act this way. Noticeably, Rain Man was trying to aim for a realistic example of autism, but his popularity resulted in the autistic savant being one of the most prominent tropes in autistic characters to this day. Another misconception about autism is that all autistic people can be summarized using blanket statements about their behaviors. In reality, autism is not a linear scale that goes from less autistic to more autistic, but rather has factors that make up a spectrum. There is no single definition of autism, so one person with autism will need different levels of services than another person with autism. One person could be nonverbal and use communication devices. Another person may not need as much support, but they may have trouble with their social interactions. While the levels of these services may vary, they are all still important nonetheless. In my case, autism manifests in my inability to understand social cues, properly express my emotions, and being able to think outside the box. Lastly, there's a stereotype that only certain groups of people have autism. In reality, autism affects every demographic, but the media only shows white male children as being autistic. This can result in women and people of color going unidentified and not getting the services they need. As author Patsy Renses notices in her article, Black and Latino children are often overlooked when it comes to autism. ASD affects people of all races and ethnicities, but research shows that African American and Latino children are diagnosed at older ages than white children, giving them less of an opportunity for proper intervention and treatment. It also says, in 2007, a study by the Center for Autism and Developmental Disabilities Research and Epidemiology at University of Pennsylvania found that African American children were 5.1 times more likely to be misdiagnosed with the conduct disorders before being properly diagnosed with an ASD. Not getting diagnosed at an early age means that these children may miss out on early childhood intervention and other services they may benefit from early on. What I want to be the main takeaway is that we can bridge the gap between autistic and neurotypical individuals by doing research about autism and not believing in the misconceptions. We are all part of the human race. We all have different needs and wants, and not one of us should be categorized into one personality or character trait. To quote Dr. Temple Grandin, who also has autism, "I am different, not less."